What is up? Happy New Year. It is officially 2024. We have a fresh annual calendar on our hands, and you may be working towards some fitness and health goals in the coming days, weeks, and months. And so I figured, hey, what better time to cover some fat loss do's and don'ts? And then I'm going to give you 3 clear and concise takeaways to focus your efforts on in order to reach your fat loss goals this year. So let's dig right in. Number 1, don't break down the garage door. Every single year, there are millions of folks that are like, I am going to get in the best shape ever. And they cut out all carbs, they give up booze completely, they start working out 7 days per week, and all that they eat is chicken and broccoli. And then they find that their approach is totally unsustainable, and so they fall off track. Shocker, right? Because they didn't go from 0 to 100. They went from 0 to 1,000. And ultimately, they end up quitting rather quickly. Don't break down the garage door this year. Open it, back up thoughtfully, and drive to your destination at or around the speed limit. Because not only will you get there faster, you will actually get there. Something that I'd recommend asking yourself throughout the process is, can I see myself living this way in a week? How about a month? How about 6 months? If the answer to those questions is yes, yes, and yes, amazing. Keep rolling and continue to check in with yourself every week or two. But if the answer is already no to any of those 3 cues, that's not the lifestyle approach for you as an individual because you've already acknowledged that it is not sustainable. For the vast majority of folks, losing fat and keeping it off long term is going to include some carbs. It's going to include some booze. It's going to include some meals out as well as some treats here and there. And the awesome thing is that it can. 99% of my clients eat carbs every single day. And the 1% that don't just choose not to. They prefer a carbless approach. 99% of my clients drink alcohol every week. 100% of my clients eat out and have some treats while losing fat. These things can all be a part of your fat loss approach. Number 2, don't just hope for the best. On the other end of the spectrum, a lot of people make the mistake of completely winging it without any sort of plan. And that's typically equally as unsuccessful of a strategy as going balls to the wall straight out of the gate. It's like deciding to go on a vacation to Italy and just showing up at the airport without a flight booked and only the clothes on your back. Like, you can, but this is so far from setting yourself up for success that it's virtually impossible that it's going to be even close to a smooth experience. It's important to put some sort of plan in place because if you don't have one, you are going to default to your current habits. And your current habits are resulting in your current body composition. And so at the very best, you will maintain your weight. Also, if you implement something and it doesn't work, that's super helpful to know because you can check that off the list in terms of potential solutions, right? And if you implement something and it does work, that's equally as helpful to know because you'll want to continue to do that, being that it's providing you with the result that you're after. But if you're just flying by the seat of your pants, not planning, prepping, or tracking a single thing, you have no clue what's working and what's not. Now, fortunately, your plan does not have to be super complicated, and I would recommend putting a specific strategy in place in regards to 3 things: nutrition, movement, and sleep. That's it. Stress management is the 4th pillar that I focus on with N1 and my clients, but fortunately, if you really double down on the first 3, they have such a life stress reducing effect that unless something really unfortunate happens, you are going to be super resilient to everyday things that might pop up. Let's say that you've established that eating 1,800 calories per day puts you in a solid calorie deficit and has you making good progress on a weekly basis. If you eat most of those calories from highly processed foods, you are almost certainly going to be very hungry. But if you eat most of those calories from single ingredient whole foods, you are going to be super satiated. Same calorie intake, drastically different experience, and therefore big picture results. Because again, hunger is not sustainable. And if your approach is not sustainable, even if you do manage to get some results up front via solely counting calories, you're not going to be able to maintain said results. On the other hand, if you only focus on food quality and you still overconsume total calories, sure, you're going to be satiated, but you're not going to lose any fat. I see this happen with quote unquote healthy fats all the time. People hear carbs are evil and that certain fats are healthy, and so they often reduce their carbohydrate intake, which lowers their calories, but then they simultaneously increase their fat intake, which increases their calories. And they spin their wheels. For example, they cut back on things like bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, etc., and start crushing salads like it's going out of style. But their salads have a super fatty dressing. They have nuts, they have cheese, they have avocado, and all of a sudden, their salad has more calories than the meal that they actually would have preferred. They also start dipping into the peanut butter jar throughout the day or grabbing handfuls of mixed nuts. A single tablespoon of nut butter is about 100 calories, and what most people think is a tablespoon is actually like 3. And so if you do that twice per day, that's 600 calories in the blink of an eye. In terms of burning 600 calories, that's like 3 hours of intense exercise. I'm talking huffing and puffing the entire time and absolutely dripping with sweat. How long does it take to eat 600 calories in peanut butter? 60 seconds maybe? A half cup of mixed nuts, just under 500 calories. You do that 5 times per week and you've got 2,500 extra calories on top of your daily intake that you barely even noticed. Point being, the whole quantity versus quality thing doesn't even make sense. It's both. We need to dial in quantity and quality when it comes to losing fat sustainably. Super quick break in the action. If you are finding the pod useful, it would be amazing if you could review it on your favorite podcast platform. Okay, back to it. Number 4, don't force a square peg into a round hole. If you don't eat breakfast, that's cool. If you eat breakfast, that's also cool. I have seen so many folks get stuck in super rigid ideas like breakfast is the most important meal of the day, force themselves to eat in the morning when they're not even hungry, and in turn consume more total calories come days and weeks end, which then just slows down their fat loss. That makes 0 sense. You can eat 1 meal per day, 2, 3, 4. In terms of fat loss, meal frequency does not matter. What matters is total calories consumed at the end of the day. This can also apply to movement. If you hate the gym, don't go. And instead, implement some sort of movement that you enjoy. Because if you have fun doing it, you're going to keep doing it. Now, I do recommend that all of my clients get 10,000 steps per day or 70,000 over the course of the week as a whole. And if that's all that they want to do on the movement front, that's perfectly fine. If they choose to work out on top of that, great. But formal workouts are not a requirement to lose fat and get super healthy. Number 5, the myth of optimal. You'll often hear fitness folks throw around the term optimal. The optimal program is 6 meals per day and working out 5 times per week and going to bed every night at 8:30 p.m. Optimal is relative because the best fat loss approach for you is the one that you can and will follow. Having 6 meals per day is like a full-time job in terms of prep, eating, and cleanup. No thanks. Personally, I typically eat 2 larger meals per day and sometimes include a snack. Most of my clients eat 2 to 3 meals per day and have 1 to 2 easy to prep snacks. Working out 5 times per week is super time consuming, not to mention that getting to and from the gym, traffic, showering, etc., it's a lot logistically. No thanks. I work out 3 to 4 times per week, but I always prioritize my steps first and foremost. Going to bed at 8:30 p.m. may be quote unquote optimal at certain times of the year at least, but what if you have kiddos and when they go down, you want to spend some quality one-on-one time with your partner or decompress and watch a show, let's say? Point being, forget about a universal optimal approach and think about it in terms of optimal for you. And that is going to be personalization. Personalization is the key to losing fat and keeping it off because it needs to be based on your priorities, lifestyle, schedule, etc. Okay, now I want to give you super clear and concise takeaways. Focus on these 3 things because they are what matter most in terms of getting fat loss results. There are no secrets here. These are the foundations and they work. Plain and simple. First, eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight or 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. And get the vast majority of this protein from animal sources, i.e. meat, fish, seafood, eggs, and dairy if you tolerate it. Fill in the rest of your calories from carbs and fat based on your personal preferences and strongly favor single ingredient whole foods. 2. Hit 10,000 steps per day or 70,000 over the course of the week as a whole. If you want to work out on top of that, awesome, but you do not have to in order to lose fat. Sleep 7 to 9 hours per night and ideally wake up naturally without an alarm. The goal is to feel rested and alert each and every day. That's it. Fit those 3 things into your lifestyle consistently in the best way that you see fit, and it's not a matter of if you are going to lose fat and get healthier, it's simply a matter of when. If you're interested in applying for one-on-one nutritional coaching and or workout design with me, you can click the link in the description below or head on over to n1fitness.com/coaching. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at N1Fitness, on TikTok at the N1Fitness, and on YouTube at Marcus Sadu/N1Fitness. If you'd like to stay up to date on the newest episode releases, you can hit the subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you found this episode useful, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.